I'm going to show you how to turn any of your automations into AI agents in just a couple minutes in make.com and n8n. The best part of this is that you don't need any technical background, crazy technical skills, or really anything at all to set this up. It's super quick, and you are now going to be able to level up your automations, whether they are to help you within your own business, or if you're looking to implement these systems for other people's businesses. This is going to be a complete game changer. If you're new here, my name is Justin. I help people buy back their time and leverage the power of AI to make more money. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to jump in to make.com. And as you can see with this workflow that's on my screen, this workflow will take Google Form submissions and it will analyze them and it'll write an email response as if it was coming from you, which will then draft the email. And then, of course, it'll store those records into a Google Sheet. Now, we're not going to cover the details of that workflow in this video, but I am going to show you how to connect this ChatGPT node if you've never done it before. This will be super helpful for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is inside of make.com, we have a brand new scenario, and inside of n8n, another amazing automation platform and great for making AI agents, we have another blank scenario. So what we're going to do first is we are going to go to platform.openai.com. So instead of coming to chatgpt.com, we're actually going to go to platform.openai.com. Once we are there, this is now the place where we are going to be able to tap in to all of OpenAI's infrastructure and the power of it through the API. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to go to the top right and we are going to click settings. Now you'll notice at the top left there is a personal tab and projects tab. So you can create more projects here if you want to, if you want to categorize these API keys that you're going to be using. Now an API key is essentially something, it's a code that's going to let you connect one application into ChatGPT behind the scenes. So because we're not using chatgpt.com, because we can't when we're in an external platform. So what we're going to do is we are going to scroll down under project, because let's say our YouTube test is exactly the place we want to be right now. We are going to hit the API keys button. Now from here, we don't actually have any connected. So you'll see if I go back to make.com and I go to add a new node and I search for OpenAI, as it is right there on the top. Now what we're going to see is we want to create a completion. So creating a completion is basically just us sending a prompt into ChatGPT and looking for a response. There are a lot of other options that you have in here, but we're not going to dive into those today. So we're going to create a completion. And what you're going to see here is connection. So I have something connected already. I have one account connected, but we're going to disregard that. We're going to add a new connection. So this OpenAI API key is what we need to get from our platform.openai.com. So this is where we're going to click create new secret key. So we're going to call this video test. Now what we're going to do here, it's in our project called YouTube test, and we are going to create our secret key. Now the secret key you'll only be able to see once. So make sure you copy it, save it to a location that is secure, because this is not something you want to be sharing with anybody. So you're going to press copy. Now, once you have done that, you're going to go back into make.com and you're going to paste your secret key. We don't need to add the organization ID for now. Blank is fine. You're going to press save. And now you will see that we have our connection created. Now, the one thing that we're going to want to change here is we are going to want to select our model. So based on what you're doing inside that automation, you're going to want to select the best suited model. Now, for most people's cases, you're going to want to just go down and probably use 4.0. You might even use 4.1, but for most use cases for right now, we're going to say it's either going to be 4.0 or 4.0 mini. Then what you will notice once that loads is you'll have a few more options pop up. So there's a messages option that we need to select. So we're going to select add message. Now you get to choose the role. So you'll see here there is user, assistant, developer system, or tool. Now in almost all cases, you will probably just be sticking with either your user or your system, or a combination of both. So think about it like this. If you select system, then this is the instructions you will be giving ChatGPT about its behavior and context. So this is where we would say you are a friendly email writing assistant. You always write casually as if you are speaking to a close friend. Right, we want to give it the understanding of who it is, what it's tasked with, and really the parameters by which it should operate. Then what we will do is we will select add message, and we'll select user, And this is where the input prompt comes into. So think about it like this. If you're on chatgpt.com, what you're actually typing into the box, that's the user message. The system message on chatgpt.com, you don't have access to. That's already programmed in for you. And you can use the message box to essentially try and hack your way in to change the system message, but it's not actually allowing you to separate those out. Whereas when we use the API, we actually can. So in our case, we would say something like, I mean, we don't have any other inputs coming in here, but let's say we did. We would say, use the form data to craft a detailed email response coming from me, Justin. And then, of course, you would have to actually connect in the data that came in from that form. But that is essentially how you are connecting in your ChatGPT into make.com. So now everything is good to go. Of course, you can also select your max completion tokens. This is the maximum allowable amount of tokens that will be used per message. So we can leave this as the default of 2048 for now. Okay, now that is our successful connection inside of Make. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we are going to go into n8n and do the same thing. So let's say, for example, that we had a chat trigger node, which we actually won't really do anything with, but we will just connect another tool to it. So in our case, we're going to now select OpenAI, and we are going to say message a model. So now you'll see we have another OpenAI node similar to what we were doing in make.com, although visually it looks a little bit different and the setup is slightly different. So now what you're going to see here, and we're not going to worry too much about any connections or tools that are connected in because I just want to show you how to actually connect this. You'll see now at the top we have a credential to connect with, and there is already one connected here because I've done it before. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the drop down and click add new credential. Now very similarly, you'll see more or less the same set of options. We have an API key that we need to paste, which if we remember and we go back to platform.openai, we have that API key that we can copy, and we can go back in and now paste this in. And once we click save, you will see that our connection is successfully made. So if we go back into our node, we will then also see we have similar options, just like we had in make.com, where now what we can do is we can choose a model. So in our case, let's say we want to choose ChatGPT 4.0. Our operation is message a model because we just, for this purpose, are sending in a single message. And now what we're going to do is, again, you're going to notice that we have settings here. We have our messages, and the role is user, and we have the prompt that we can provide. This is where we would enter. If we go back to our make.com to make this super simple and show you the direct comparison, what we would do is we would take our user message, we would copy, and we would paste. Now you'll see there is our prompt from the user, and down below we've added, we can get rid of that and I'll show you. If you go to add message, we've now added a second one, but what we want to do now is change this to system. You'll see there's a little description here. System, usually used to set the model's behavior or context for the next user message. So we're going to select system. We would go back to to make.com. We would select it, and now we would paste. So that is exactly the short number of steps that you need in order to actually successfully connect your OpenAI account into make.com and into n8n. Now what you can do is you can really start to run wild, because now everything that you run through these nodes is going to actually reach out to OpenAI, specifically the ChatGPT 4.0 model, which is because that's what we selected. And then you will be able to manipulate or create or do whatever you need to with whatever data you are both sending but also receiving. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this, more about these agents and automations and how to build them, you can follow me. You can subscribe to this channel. You can check me out on TikTok. And also I've got a link down below to my AI growth toolkit, which is a step-by-step of how to get the most out of ChatGPT, but also work your way up to figure out how to build your first automation, your first agent, and also what automations you should be focusing on building to really move the needle in your life and in your business. All right, guys, I hope you found this helpful, this quick little tutorial on how to set up OpenAI inside of your automations. I'll see you guys in the next one.